Welcome to St. Petersburg Together. I'm your host, Janice Ford. Starting off school on the wrong foot can put a child behind for life. One group aimed at helping kids get off the ground running before they even start kindergarten is the Lou Williams Project. Joining us today to talk about how this project helps kids get ready before they even start school is Susan Weber from our club and Arthurine Williams, owner of Kids World Preschool. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting us.
So tell me, what is the Lou Williams Project?
Well, the Lou Williams Project is actually a preschool for kids. It's a high quality model preschool, and the way that it got started was by my husband. The school system decided to look at this as a way of honoring his legacy. Lou was a lifelong educator, love for children, and he spent his whole life basically working for children. He worked in the public school system, started here in Pinellas County in 1970. He went through by being principal. He was also area superintendent, director of school operations, and so his whole thrust was children. And basically what he tried to do was to make sure that children had the best, that they were educated, that they would be lifelong learners. He worked very hard at ensuring and trying to ensure that from kindergarten up through high school. And what he was working on once he retired from the public school system, which was in 2005, he retired, and he just could not sit. Even though he was retired, he was still working for the betterment of children and for education. And what he ended up doing was running for school board. And he ran for school board, and his platform was to make sure that all children, regardless, you know, of economics, whatever, would have an opportunity at being successful in school. And so what we did even before that time, Lou and I opened a preschool, Kids World, because that was one of the things that, you know, we looked at, and it bothered him to see that kids were starting kindergarten not prepared. And it wasn't because they could not, it wasn't because that they couldn't learn, it was because of the exposure. And so he just wanted to also make sure, that was his platform, was to make sure that kids were ready for kindergarten. And so once he Lou did pass in 2011 unexpectedly. The school system wanted to honor his legacy by opening a preschool, a high quality preschool in his honor, because they knew that was basically his, you know, his thrust, his focus. And so it's just an honor. It was an honor when Dr. Stewart, who was interim superintendent at the time, called me in 2012 and said that this is something that they wanted to do in honor of his legacy, but they wanted it to be different. They didn't want it to be like the others, and I thought that was such an honor for them to do that. And then to also, when we met, to have all of these agencies to come together that were also on the same page. such as JWB, our club, United, it was JWB, our club, and St. Pete College, Lutheran services, you know, everybody just coming together because of the devotion that they had and realizing that, you know, there was a need in the community to make sure that we have high quality for our kids.
And now you're located out at PTEC.
Right, the center is going to be at PTEC. Okay. Yes, and it's beautiful. It really is, and it does my heart good. And I know with Lou, because Lou's motto was keeping the main thing, and it was all about kids. And you know, and realizing that all kids can learn. Maybe not the same day and not the same way, but all kids can learn.
You're absolutely right about that.
So you know, I just feel really good that that everybody involved saw the need to open a preschool and to have a high quality preschool with, you know, the degree teachers and all the multi-agencies involved.
Now, what is different from this center, the Lou Williams Center, and other centers? I know that you talked about it's going to, you know, it's high quality educational setting, but what makes it stand out from the other daycares or preschools? Well, I should say preschool, not daycare.
Right. Yes, it's a preschool. Yes.
What makes it really stand out is that this is the first time that agencies have really come together and made a full commitment to the children that are going to attend the Lou Williams Center. So because they've made a full commitment, there's also funding involved, which other preschool centers, they just don't have. Right. So that commitment helps us to pay for degree teachers and for certified teachers, plus their assistants also will have a minimum of a child development associate degree. So we'll have higher qualified teachers than other centers, but we'll also have low ratios. So, you know, our local licensing in our state says that we can have one teacher for every 20 children for fours. We're going to have 2 for only 18. Okay. And it's kind of that way for each of the age groups. We'll have lower ratios, they'll get more one-on-one attention. The other thing that sets us different is that we're going to have a family engagement specialist that will be in close contact with the families. So if they need something, then they can get help that, you know, we're going to help them try to find employment. We're going to help them try to go to school. We want to be a solid connection, and other centers can't provide that either.
How many kids in total will you have attending?
104.
Okay.
104.
Now, you mentioned funding. Is JWB one of the funders?
It is.
Okay.
Yes. We, our agencies are Lutheran Family Services, so we'll accept Head Start and Early Head Start children, as well as the Juvenile Welfare Board of Pinellas, the Early Learning Coalition of Pinellas, Pinellas County Schools, and our club.
Okay, so you're really fortunate to have so many agencies behind you and to give you funding to start this project. That's really, now is that a continuation of funding?
Yes, it is.
And that's always great.
Right.
You know, not just one time only.
There's
a continuation.
Every child that enters our door will have consistent care until they enter kindergarten.
Okay, well that's wonderful. So what's the program's philosophy and goals?
Well, I keep telling everybody, it's our dream that this is the village. It's one village, one community that we're going to help every child, every parent, every teacher who comes through our doors in one way or another. The goal of it is that every child who exits our program enters kindergarten ready to succeed, but also graduates high school, attends college, and has that successful life. This is a dream of many people.
And we want to make sure also that, you know, they can compete globally. So we want to do that, and with the as Susan was saying, you know, with the help of all of the agencies, JWB, who has been there from the onset at the table, ELC, Early Learning Coalition, who has been there from the beginning, you know, at the onset, our club from, you know, our first meeting. And it's just amazing to see from the first meeting how everybody was on the same page. You know, it really was, and everybody could see the need for having a center such as the Lou Williams Early Learning Center.
Now, Susan, how is the R Club, you work for the R Club, correct?
I do.
So how is that affiliated as far as the children are concerned?
The funding is actually coming through to the R Club.
Okay.
So, and Pinellas County Schools is providing us the property.
Which is at PTEC?
It's at PTEC
Okay.
South.
Okay.
And so our club actually is playing a major role in it, but what's making this different than other things is that there's an advisory committee. So maybe we have a major role in it, but there is a council that gets together from all of the agencies to advise, to say, this is what we're seeing is wrong, this is what we're seeing that's right, and then we can make changes. So, and the council is going to be comprised of families too, of the president of our parent meetings. So we need to have the family's voice in there. We want to make sure that our families feel empowered.
Right. Now, who can apply to attend?
The school is actually open for all children. So we accept private pay. We will accept Early Learning Coalition scholarships, Head Start, Early Head Start. But we really want to focus on those high-risk zip codes that are very close to our area.
Okay. So so they have to apply to get in?
There's actually a whole process.
Okay. So talk a little bit about that process.
Okay.
Okay.
The advisory council decided that we would create a child enrollment committee, and the committee is comprised of representatives from the different agencies. And what they did is when they came together, they created a score sheet. So when parents come in and they complete their application, the committee scores the applications, and then it's the most needy who will be accepted.
Okay. And to get a little technical, what is the checklist that families have to fall in order to be accepted? I mean, you have a evaluation of the applications. So what are you looking for to determine what child gets in?
We're looking for families that are actually already receiving services from the Juvenile Welfare Board, maybe that they're, families in crisis. We're also looking for families that don't have their children in care. The goal of the center was not to take children from other centers and other family daycare homes that were in the area. So they actually, if they're not in care, they're scored a little bit higher. So, but we also want to keep a well balance. So private paying families are also scored. It was a process, and we've already finished the first application process, and it was the first time I've experienced that, and it was really hard to deny, and because we just wanted to accept everybody who walks through the door. Exactly.
And you said the advisory committee are the ones that makes the decision on who's accepted. They're the ones who are doing the evaluations?
It's a child enrollment committee, and it was made up from the advisory council. So the advisory council kind of oversees everything, and then we have subcommittees, which anyone is welcome to come join us, and we need help with child enrollment. So we're going to have a great big grand opening coming up, and we need help with that. But we also are looking for input on the outcomes, the goals, the objectives, and as well as things like parental involvement. You need a committee, you need lots of input of saying, how can we have families become involved and stay involved when they leave our program and enter the primary schools.
Now, I know that having parent involvement is really key to, any child who's, elementary, middle, or high school, you know, there's a need for parent involvement, and that's lacking a lot in a lot of communities. Have you all thought about the possibility of making it mandatory based on the child's acceptance that that family is involved with the school? Because I think that you probably will get more involvement if it's mandatory.
Well, that's something that we definitely looked at, and there are things that, you know, the parents have to do. They have to attend, and they realize this when they are enrolling their kids, you know, their children, that they do have to attend parent conferences. They do have to attend parent meetings. There are a certain number of volunteer hours that they are required, and also parent events. So they have been made aware, and all of them were in agreement.
Yeah, it was really surprising, the parents that came through our doors, that they are very used to that in the primary grades around this area. So I didn't have one parent to like kind of squish it, like, ooh, I really don't want to be involved. They want to be involved, and we want to open our doors to them. So our club does have an open door policy for parents.
So that, and I truly believe that's key to the overall education of all of our children, is that the parents are involved and be involved in their child's education.
And they have to know how to be involved.
Exactly.
You know, a lot of times you say involvement, but if they don't have any directions as to how I can become involved, then they don't. But the Williams Learning Center does.
Okay, that's great. Now, how will the center contribute to the St. Petersburg community?
The center is something that I have failed to mention, is actually going to also be a professional development hub. So we want the providers in the area, whether they're working at a center or working at a family daycare home, to feel that the Lou Williams Center is an extension of their program. So we can help with professional development. They can also help with us. And so that's going to be beneficial to the community. But also, when a child is successful at school and they graduate successfully, that's another added benefit to the community. Plus the fact that we want the parents to succeed by helping them with employment or finding education, or even getting the resources. St. Petersburg is so rich in resources. It's just that the parents are unaware of it.
Yes, and that's kind of like one of my pet peeves about, you know, educating parents about what services are available to them and how do they access those services, you know, and a lot of times, you know, going through that maze to get to the services that you actually need is frustrating to a lot of parents, and sometimes they just give up and don't try to seek the services. But there are so many services out there available, and oftentimes they are free, and a lot of people think that, you know, I can't afford that. But, you know, they're free, so you know, there's no charge, there's no reason why you can't try to get those services that you need. But, you know, one of those reasons is because they don't know how to access those services. So that's something that you all will be doing and helping families.
Absolutely. We're 100% committed to that. Our teachers are also going to do home visits with families, and our family engagement specialist will as well. So we're really hoping to have a solid bridge between home and school.
Wow. Okay, well, that is definitely sets you apart from a lot of the, you know, preschools in the area. That's that, you know, a lot of them don't do home visits, and a lot of them don't really work with the whole family as far as what you're trying to do is helping with employment and providing different services that the family may need as a whole.
Right.
Good. Now, as far as other providers and preschool homes, how can they participate in the professional development?
Well, the first year is kind of going to be like our breaking ground. So the professional development opportunities for providers and daycare homes won't be as strong. We're really looking to make it very strong in the second year. So we'll be we'll be providing classes. If you enter our school, which we would love for you to come and take a look at it, you will see that there's observation windows, there's actually an observation booth for our ones class, and so we want them to come, we want them to learn from the degree teachers, and because it's really easy to take a class, but it's very hard to take that information and then apply it into a totally different setting. So we're going to give them the information, we're going to give them the power, but then we're also going to have coaches and mentors that will follow them to help get increase quality in all of the areas. Our providers for our centers and our daycare homes, they have the heart, they don't have the resources that they need to really come together and make every child be successful. So we really need to build that foundation so that they are.
Okay. So people out there who are watching, how can they contact you? I need phone numbers, websites, email addresses. How can that be done?
Well, they can contact me for the professional development piece, or for enrollment, or if families just have questions. We also are definitely looking for volunteers to come in and help. I mean, it's a project, and we want it community-based. So we are located at PTEC 901 34th Street South, but we're a hidden treasure. You cannot find it by entering the front of PTEC.
Yes, I know. I've tried.
Parents call us and they're like, where are you? Where are you? So if they enter off of 8th Avenue South and they enter into the Career Source parking lot, kind of veer left, you'll see like a little hidden parking lot and a doorbell. We are trying to get signs, and they'll be up and running before we know it. But so right now, I do just call it the hidden treasure because it's hard to find. So call before you come. My phone number is 727-914-4935, and my email is sweber, and Weber's with one B like the grill, so sweber@ourclub.net. And our club also has a website where there's some information. In the future, we're hoping that the Lou Williams will have a website that everybody can go to, but it's just not created yet. So our club is www.ourclub.net.
Okay. Now, also, so, because, you know, I'm out at PTEC because I am the city's liaison for the Urban League style program and for the Bowley Center's Summer Youth Employment and the After School program. So I sit in on the workshops for the Urban League and their style program, so that's why I was going to just stop by and say hi, but I never found you. So
security.
Right. And so if you go down, if you're on 34th Street, instead of turning at the 9th Avenue entrance, you go to the 8th Avenue entrance and turn there.
Correct.
So, okay, I know exactly where you are now.
Yeah,
okay.
The 8th Avenue South. And something that I also failed to mention, which I want to, is that we're hoping to form a solid relationship with Gibbs High School.
Okay.
They have an early childhood program there that
Wonderful.
we want their students to come and also participate in, but they have so much there. They have drama, they have music, they have band.
I know.
And if we can encourage any of those students to be a part of the Lou Williams Center, and so it's helping them with volunteer hours, but also feeling like they're part of something bigger. That is another one of my goals to the program, and anything that we can do to spread it throughout the community.
Okay, that sounds great. Now, tell me, how can the community assist the center? Do we have time for all that?
Volunteer. Yeah, they can the community can always come in and volunteer. You know, read things that they have to donate. The center will take donations. Also come in and, you know, help with different projects.
Okay. Now, Ms. Williams, you say donations. What type of donations? Monetary donations?
It can be monetary donations, because, you know, you were always looking for scholarships for the kids. Donations of supplies. Always, you know, looking for donation for supplies and time. and energy to come in. But yes, always looking for donations.
And One Man's Junk is the children's treasure. It truly is, because the boxes that have come in, I've saved boxes, I've saved corner slots, I've saved long tubes. They will be able to create and really become inventive with those products. So something that we think is trash is really not for children. They truly do play with a box before they play with a...
Now, when you mention volunteers and you're working with children, there has to be a screening process for those volunteers. So do you all take those volunteers through that screening process?
We will. We will, because we are on Pinal School property. But also just something to realize is that volunteers would never be left alone with children.
Okay. Because I know how very important that is. That you if you work with children, you have to be screened. And if you're volunteering with children, you have to be screened as well. Okay, before we close out the show, give us those contact numbers again.
Okay, it's Susan Weber, 727-914-4935.
Okay, and Authorina, is there any contact numbers for you?
Sure. My email address is Authorine, ARTHURENES, Collins, COLLINS, @yahoo.com. And my phone number is 727-460-9016.
Okay. Now, I would like to also comment that I had the privilege of meeting Mr. Williams. And in my other life, when I worked with children at a nonprofit, and he was always helpful in solving any problems that I may have in dealing with, the school system and working with the type of children that I worked with. He was very instrumental in doing whatever he could to help. And I must say that he was definitely a great man.
Yeah. And that was his passion. It truly, truly was. He wanted to make sure that all children succeeded. And that was the one reason why we wanted to do the preschool, because he saw there was such a deficit, when the kids entered, entered preschool, entered kindergarten, that they truly were not prepared. And I just think that, this was just such an honor to have this preschool, this quality preschool in his, in his honor. And to have Susan Weber, who has the energy, I'm looking at her, she has the enthusiasm, because, people have the knowledge, but it takes a different kind of person when you're working with little ones.
Absolutely.
And, she truly does have that energy. She has the knowledge, she has the enthusiasm. And so she was definitely a very good fit for what, we're trying to do. And just to also, in appreciation to our club for being the governance over the program, and all of the other agencies who just came on board, because we've been working on this since 2012, and it has just now come together. It's really beautiful. I know there's some great things that are going to happen as far as this program is concerned. With with everybody working together for that common goal, which is Lou's motto, keeping the main thing the main thing.
Well, I'm sure that will happen, and I wish you all the luck. And I want to thank you again for joining us. And again, here's the information on what we've talked about on today's show. See you next time on St. Petersburg Together. Thank you.